Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavad Gita, as is this. Where is it written? It is written on my notes. Huh? Number 3. Which chapter is it? 18, huh? Okay. Oh. This column is wonderful. Incredibly long. That was Gopinath's column. Yeah? Oh. 18. Okay. Tyājyaṁ doṣa-vad ityeke karma prāhur manīṣiṇaḥ yajña-dāna-tapaḥ-karma tyājyaṁ iti cāpare tyājyaṁ doṣa-vad ityeke karma prāhur manīṣiṇaḥ yajña-dāna-tapaḥ-karma tyājyaṁ iti cāpare tyājyaṁ doṣa-vad ityeke karma prāhur manīṣiṇaḥ yajña-dāna-tapaḥ-karma tyājyaṁ iti cāpare tyājyaṁ doṣa-vad ityeke karma prāhur manīṣiṇaḥ yajña-dāna-tapaḥ-karma tyājyaṁ iti cāpare tyājyaṁ doṣa-vad ityeke karma prāhur manīṣiṇaḥ yajña-dāna-tapaḥ-karma tyājyaṁ iti cāpare. Tyājyaṁ doṣa-vad ityeke karma prāhur manīṣiṇaḥ yajña-dāna-tapaḥ-karma tyājyaṁ iti cāpare. Tyājyaṁ must be given up. Doṣa-vad as an evil. Iti thus. Eke one group. Karma work. Prabhu they say. Manīṣiṇaḥ great thinkers. Yajña of sacrifice. Dāna charity. Tapa and penance. Karma works. Not never. Tyājyaṁ are to be given up. Iti thus. Cha and apare others. Translation. Some learned men declare that all kinds of fruitive activities should be given up as faulty. Yet other sages maintain that acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be abandoned. Please repeat. Some learned men declare that all kinds of fruitive activities should be given up as faulty. Yet other sages maintain that acts of sacrifice, charity and penance should never be abandoned. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. There are many activities in the Vedic literature which are subjects of contention. For instance, it is said that an animal can be killed in a sacrifice, yet some maintain that animal killing is completely abominable. Although animal killing in a sacrifice is recommended in the Vedic literature, the animal is not considered to be killed. The sacrifice is to give a new life to the animal. Sometimes the animal is given a new animal life after being killed in the sacrifice, and sometimes the animal is promoted immediately to the human form of life. But there are different opinions among the sages. Some say that animal killing should always be avoided, and others say that for a specific sacrifice it is good. All these different opinions on sacrificial activity are now being clarified by the Lord Himself. Om Jnanatimanandasya Giranjana Chalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavan Ishvari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. It is said that in the Vedic literatures, it is said that in Kali Yuga, animal sacrifices are forbidden. It is also said it's forbidden for a woman to get a child from the brother of her husband if she cannot get, if her husband dies or in some other circumstances. And another thing forbidden in Kali Yuga was like sannyas, to take sannyas. Of course, by that they mean like the sannyasis who are Mayavadis. But if someone becomes a Vaishnava sannyasi and he's preaching Krishna consciousness all over the world, then that I say that is superior, that not transgressing, but it is the essence. And that I will come to in this class, and that preaching is the essence. So there are different statements by Krishna in the Bhagavad-gītā where he is speaking about yajña. And in the 15th chapter, there is the 15th verse of the 15th chapter. Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedyo which means that the purpose of all the Vedas is to learn to know Krishna, to get to know, to get to understand Krishna, to come to Krishna. So there are so many yajñas, and so many things going on, but the ultimate purpose of the Vedas is that. Because there are many people who think that the purpose of the Vedas they are called karmis, something material, maybe go to the heavenly planets or become wealthy, or there's so many different motivations why they perform yajñas or rituals and sacrifices, austerities. But we know through the Guru Parampara and by this wonderful translation of Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad-gītā, called the Bhagavad-gītā as it is, that the purpose of all the Vedas is that everyone becomes a devotee of Krishna. Veda is just sarvair aham eva vidyu. Of all the Vedas, I am to be known. Krishna says himself in Bhagavad-gītā. Well, that is very important. And then in another verse, in another chapter, the 5th chapter, Krishna says, Bhaktaram yajña-tapasam, that I'm the beneficial of all sacrifices and austerities. It says, Bhaktaram means the enjoyer, or the beneficial, and yajña-tapasam. The word yajña means sacrifice, and tapasam, austerity. We learn it in this chapter, these words. You already learned a little bit these words in this chapter. So that is Krishna. He is the supreme enjoyer of all. And then there is a wonderful verse which talks about yajña, how to please Krishna, because in all the different yugas there are different types of yajña and different types of sacrifices that should be performed to attain self-realization, to attain perfection, to reach the ultimate goal. All the different ages have different systems. Like in the Satya Yuga, one has to meditate, practice Ashtanga Yoga, and behold the super soul, like that. In the Treta Yuga, one has to perform yajñas, great, like Ashvamedha yajñas, horse sacrifices, and mentioned in the purport of this verse by Srila Prabhupada. And that was all mentioned for millions of years ago, for this age of Treta Yuga. And then in Dwapara Yuga, the previous age, deity worship, to worship the Lord in the deity form in the temple, but in a very, very opulent way. And that is also not there for Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, the yajña is the chanting of the holy name and Sankirtan. And there is a verse in the very famous verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 11th canto, Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sangapangastra Parshadam Yajñai Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti Sumedasaham. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. So that is the Yuga Dharma, the religion for the age, Sankirtan. glorification of God, congregational chanting, but also individual chanting, the chanting of the holy name. And it is said by in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Kalir dosha-nidera jan asti eko mahat guna kirtanadeva krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajet, that Kali Yuga is full of faults. Indeed, it is just like an ocean of faults. So many faults, but there is one very nice quality of this age, and that is that simply by chanting the names of God, one can go back to Godhead. In previous ages, it was much more difficult. Ashtanga yoga or all these yajñas, or it was all incredibly difficult to go back to Godhead. But now it has been made so easy. And that is because Lord Chaitanya brings this Yuga Dharma, and Lord Chaitanya is the Mahavadanyaya, the most magnanimous incarnation. And because he is simultaneously Krishna and Radharani, he comes with the compassion of Radharani, because it is said that Srimati Radharani is the most compassionate, and she is experiencing Mahabhava, the highest ecstasy, and Krishna wants to experience this highest ecstasy of love of God, Krishna Prema, and therefore he comes as Krishna and Radharani together. But he also comes in the mood of Radharani to bring all the souls back to Krishna, because that the love of God also manifests in love for all the living entities, because they are part and parcel of God. And love and compassion, that is the quality of the greatest pure souls. And so Lord Chaitanya takes very much pleasure in going everywhere and bringing everyone back to Krishna. And Radharani is doing that also, bringing everyone to Krishna, And that is wonderful. So therefore he gives the strongest method, the best method, which is chanting the holy names. It's the best method, the strongest medicine. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he sings, Jiv Jago, Gora Chanda Bole, Kota Nidra Jau Maya, Pisha Chira Gole. He sings that, wake up, sleeping souls. You have been sleeping for a long, long time in the lap of the witch called Maya. Now I brought some medicine for you, and this is very strong medicine, the holy name. Take this holy name. And so there's many statements in the scriptures, like in the Brihan Naradiya Purana, there is statements about the holy name. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam eva kevalam kalu nasti eva nasti eva nasti eva gatir anyata. That in Kali Yuga there is no other way, no other way, no other way for becoming liberated than the holy name, the holy name, the holy name of the Lord. And it is repeated 3 times, no other way, no other way, no other way, than the holy name, the holy name, the holy name. That means when something is repeated 3 times in the Vedic scriptures, then that means it has been stressed very, very much. If it is repeated twice, then it is stressed very much. But if it is stressed three times, then it's very, very most important. So then Lord Chaitanya, he didn't write any books himself, and he only wrote the Shikshastaka prayers. And in the Shikshastaka prayers, the Sankirtan Yajna is explained. The chanting of the holy name is explained. The mood, how to chant the holy name is explained. All this is explained. So, and nothing else he teaches. That was his teachings. Of course, he teaches through his disciples, the 6 Goswamis, and he instructed them to write books. But he himself, because it is so essential and so important, that the Sankirtan. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gītā, yajña-dāna-tapaḥ-karma. That is the 10th chapter, the text 25. The chapter is called The Opulence of the Lord. No, the opulence of the Absolute. And that means, yajña-dāna-tapaḥ-karma, that means of sacrifices. Goes, what kind of practical thing are you doing for society? Are you praying all day or singing holy names all day? So how is that practical to help people? But here is said, this Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction, the best welfare activity, Prabhupada calls it, para upakar, in Sanskrit, for humanity at large, for everyone. Not even for humanity only, but even for the animals and the plants and the whole planet. It's good for everything and everyone, you know. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the transcendental rays of the benediction moon. What is that? That is actually the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. It spreads the mercy of Radharani and Krishna, like that. And then in the second verse he says, "O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benedictions upon the living beings." All benedictions. Your holy name alone. That is interesting if you analyze it word for word and see what it really says. Your holy name alone, that means nothing else. Your holy name alone can render not benedictions, but all benedictions, complete, you know. And thus you have hundreds and millions of names, like Krishna and Govinda. And in these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental qualities. Not just some powerful transcendental qualities, but all. Which actually means that Krishna is completely in his name. Everything is in Krishna's name, because Krishna is everything, with all his energies. That is all there. Can you imagine how powerful the holy name is? And I was looking for some interesting statements or verses on the holy name, on the power of the holy name. And I found some verses in the Vaishnava verse book, and I can read them out to you. It's really interesting what they say about the holy name. Let me see. This verse: "Oh, how glorious are they whose tongues are chanting your holy name. even if born in the families of dog-eaters, such persons are worshipable. So even if you're born in the family of a dog-eater, of course, maybe we are worse because we have been eating cows, isn't it? Most Westerners who come to the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya have been eating cows. And that is the worst of sins, isn't it? So even if you come, whose tongues are chanting the holy name, even if born in the families of dog-eaters, such persons are worshipable. Persons who chant the holy name of your Lordship must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifices. Now that's interesting. We are talking today about sacrifices, austerities, and here in this verse it says, if you chant the holy names, then you must have done all these things already. And achieved all the good manners of the Aryans. You must have achieved all the good manners of the Aryans. So an Aryan is a person who follows the Vedic moral codes and ethical principles. He is the perfect gentleman, an Aryan. He understands the higher values of life. That's an Aryan. So, although, people are born in a family of dog-eaters, they are considered to be higher just because they are chanting the holy names of the Lord. They're considered to be Aryans. And very interesting. To be chanting the holy name of your Lordship, they must have bathed at all holy places of pilgrimage, even if you didn't go to India yet, You have bathed already in all the holy places because you're chanting the holy name. Study the Vedas and fulfilled everything required. There's many other obligations a person has towards the demigods, towards the forefathers, towards your parents and family, towards the government. All the obligations are already fulfilled. So that is a powerful verse, this verse. It's from the Srimad Bhagavatam, from the 3rd canto. And then, let me see, there's another verse here. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating, no, this not. Oh, this one is also very nice, very famous, from the Padma Purana. Nama Chintamani Krishnas, Chintamani Krishnas. Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Binatvan Namanaminuhu. The holy name of Krishna is transcendentally blissful. It bestows all spiritual benedictions, for it is Krishna himself, the reservoir of all pleasure. Krishna's name is complete, and it is the form of all transcendental mellows. It is not a material name under any condition, and it is no less powerful than Krishna himself. Since Krishna's name is not contaminated by the material qualities, and there is no question of its being involved with Maya, Krishna's name is always liberated and spiritual. It is never conditioned by the laws of material nature. This is because the name of Krishna and Krishna himself are identical. Binadvan nama namino. The name of Krishna and Krishna himself are identical. And here is another very interesting verse. Hare Krishna. This is from the Kali Santaran Upanishad. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Iti Shodashakam Nam Kali Karma Shanashanam Nata Parataropaya Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. The 16 words of the Hare Krishna mantra are especially meant for counteracting the sins of the age of Kali. So, especially meant for counteracting the sins of Kali. So this mantra is created actually for counteracting the sins of Kali. Yeah, it's meant for us. To save oneself from the contamination of this age, there is no alternative but to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. After searching through all the Vedic literatures, one cannot find a method of religion for this age so sublime as the chanting of Hare Krishna, of the Hare Krishna. So, so therefore the chanting of Hare Krishna is the Yuga Dharma, the process for liberation, for like that. And Lord Chaitanya himself, Krishna himself, gives the example. He traveled from north to south India, from east to west, and everywhere where he came, he was singing and dancing. Musical instruments were there, mridangas, kartals, and and everyone was swept away by his ecstatic love, and so he chanted the pure name, in ecstasy, and he went by foot thousands of miles throughout the land of India. And wherever he came, everyone became intoxicated and mad by love of God and started to sing Hare Krishna. Thousands and thousands of people. And he just sung and danced like a madman, And even those who were opposed, like Muslims weren't too much friendly towards the Hindus. And they were always mocking them, making fun. But they even became purified and started to chant Hare Krishna. And the Mayavadis, they were changed into pure Vaishnavas. And Mayavadis are very sinful. They're so envious that they want to say, I am God. And God has no form. But by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's purity, they became transformed in great Vaishnavas. And even Buddhists who are nihilists, they don't even believe in God. They turned into pure devotees. And then thieves and rogues, like Jagai and Madai, they were aggressive, they attacked devotees. And they became saintly persons, like that. And even to go even farther, when he came to the Jarikanda forest, even the animals started to sing and dance and chant Hare Krishna. And that's indeed a great miracle. But then the miracle is even greater. Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he predicted that in every town and every village all over the world, the chanting of Hare Krishna will go on. And so then, a wonderful, great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, he came and he accomplished that mission and he fulfilled that prediction. And that is our Srila Prabhupada. And he traveled, Lord Chaitanya traveled in India and he is God himself. But Srila Prabhupada traveled the entire world 14 times in 12 years. And wherever he came, people started to sing and dance and chant Hare Krishna. Even if they were intoxicated completely by horrible drugs or having illicit sex or eating cows or whatever they were doing, horrible things, the lowest. And Lord Chaitanya came to save the most fallen. So this is what is going on, you know. Now we are learning also to perform this yajña. And our sacrifice, and our austerities, and our yajña is to chant very nicely Hare Krishna. Develop a taste for chanting very nicely. And from this chanting, everything else will come. It's magic. The chanting is magic. From the chanting, the preaching will come. And then the transformation will come. Our own transformation. Purity is the force. When we become transformed and pure, then we become like touchstone, and others can also be transformed and pure. This is what Srila Prabhupada did. He is so pure, and whoever came in contact with him became a devotee. And then they also became like touchstone. And it's like you have a contagious disease, an epidemic, you know, but now in the positive sense. We become contaminated with love of God. It's like that. But, you know, the austerity is there that we have to endeavor. We have to endeavor. It doesn't happen automatically. We cannot say Lord Chaitanya is so merciful that I don't have to do anything. It happens automatically by His mercy. No. The Lord gives the mercy, and now we have to be grateful that we received the mercy and do something back in return. And that is our austerity, to endeavor. There's one verse in Bhagavad-gītā where Krishna says, Vyavasayatmika buddhir. That means with fixed up intelligence, we have to become determined and say no to Maya and yes to Krishna. And then we can be part of the Sankirtan Yajña. And another austerity is to become humble. It's not so easy. Pride is something which each living entity is suffering of. And we have the tendency to become proud and forget our nature, small nature. That is the material world. The ahankar, the false ego, is there. So therefore, Lord Chaitanya says in the Sri Shikshastaka, Trinadapisunichena, Taror eva sahishnuna, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sadahari. If one chants the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street, and becoming more tolerant than a tree, and being ready to offer all respects to others, and not desiring any respects for ourselves, then we can go on chanting, eternally. Then one can chant the holy names of the Lord continuously. But if we cannot become humble, then somehow or other it is interrupted. It becomes interrupted. It becomes disturbed. And then the Sankirtan Yajña cannot be performed properly, or japa and kirtan and preaching. It will be disturbed by pride, false ego, and so therefore that is a very important and another very important element of performing this yajña is that Lord Chaitanya, he says, O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire any beautiful woman, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service in my life, birth after birth. And that is another very important. Bhoga Ishvarya prasuktanam taya prajita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhir samadona vidhiyate. That those who are too attached to sense gratification and worldly opulence, to them the resolute determination to perform devotional service does not take place because because of their material desires. So we have to also become detached. And that's also a practice. It's sometimes difficult. Some things we become dependent, addicted to things. And that is a little difficult. There has to be some endeavor to do that. But, if we continue with the process of Krishna consciousness and we develop a higher taste, we become strong and very fulfilled and satisfied within. So it's easy to let it go, these attachments. But sometimes it takes a little time, It doesn't always take place immediately within a fraction of a second. It takes some years sometimes for some things, But there is another quality one has to have. And that is what Rupa Goswami says in the Upadeshamrita. We have to be very patient. Very, very patient. We have to be very, 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 greedy to get it. I want it all, I want it now. Krishna consciousness, I want it, But at the same time, we have to be very patient because it might not happen so quick, Something is in the way. And it takes time. But what is one lifetime? It's not very long compared to millions and zillions of lifetimes. So it seems to be very long if it takes 20 or 30 years to give up some bad habit. But it's nothing actually. It's just a fraction of a moment compared to all these millions of lifetimes that we have been chewing the chew. We have been chewing the chew for a long time. But in one lifetime we can make it. Okay, what time is it? I think I should stop here. So Lord Chaitanya predicted it, Srila Prabhupada fulfilled it, and Srila Prabhupada gave us the whole mission in our hands. We have to continue following the footsteps of Prabhupada and Sankirtan Yajña ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan Yajña ki jai. Yeah. Any questions?
You talked about Hatha Yoga, various yoga. You say it's very difficult to attain, to achieve Krishna, to back to the left Krishna with this yoga. But it's impossible, or it's very difficult. There is a chance to back to the left with Hatha Yoga, other yoga, or it's impossible?
There is a chance?
The chance to back to the left with this yoga, with Hatha Yoga and other yoga, or it's impossible to back to the left with this yoga? Is it possible to go back to Hatha Yoga?
And this? No, it's not possible. Hatha Yoga is not the method for Kali Yuga. It's not possible. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Because you need to have special qualities for it, and it's a very difficult process. You even have to live for a long time, and we live not even 100 years, but you had to live for 100,000 years. We cannot even imagine that. How is that possible? You had to meditate for something like 10,000 years or something. I think so, 10,000 years you have to meditate. So how can you can't do it. You cannot go to the forest because there is no more real forest, because nothing grows in this forest. How can you survive here in this forest? You can eat some hazelnuts in the autumn, but some berries, but it's very little. It's practically impossible. But in Satya Yuga you could do it. It's not possible. But to chant Hare Krishna, yoginam api sarvesham, It is said by Krishna in the Bhagavad-gītā, Yoginam api sarvesham. Of all the yogis, he who is my devotee, he is the greatest yogi. Krishna says. And he is the most intimately united with me in yoga and the greatest of all. That is actually, because yoga means to link up with the Supreme, to have a relation with God. What was the purpose of Ashtanga Yoga, the Eightfold Method, was to just bring people back in harmony with God. It's the purpose of all. But if you can do that directly by bhakti yoga, you say, Sarva dharmam parijyaja. We give up all the other methods, all the other beliefs, all the other systems, and just surrender to me, Krishna says. Don't fear, I will save you from all sinful reactions, from all the bad karma, and I will take you back to me, to Taddham Paramam Mama, to my abode. And so that is what Hatha Yoga, even what they teach now is difficult. I have pain in my legs. Cannot even sit cross-legged. I get pain. It's difficult. But it's nice to do some Hatha Yoga and do some exercises. It's advice for good health, mental and physical health, and you can become very peaceful and sit down and chant the Maha Mantra very attentively. Then, and when you're very healthy, you can do better service, and that is okay. That is okay. But it's not that by practicing Hatha Yoga that you can see Krishna face to face. Impossible. Go back to Krishna Loka. Impossible. Anything else? Yeah.
Did you say that children of Rama is the best sacrifice, the best charity, and the best penance?
Did I say that?
I don't know. Is that what it says?
Yeah, you could say it.
No answer.
That makes sense to me. Yeah. You could say that. Why not? Yeah. It's a sacrifice. It's a charity. Well, it's not a charity. Is it a charity? It's a charity. Dan. Yeah. Of course. Yeah, of course. Better.
And I was thinking, why does he give away this? Why does he choose and throw it away?
Yeah.
And then he walked home and thought, if he throws away this stone, he must have something even better.
Yeah.
And then he came back and said, do you even have something better?
Sanatan Goswami, yeah, was it?
And he said, yes,
Yeah.
you first throw things.
Yeah.
Then I'll tell
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah. It's the best charity also. When someone, it's the best gift. If someone gives you the holy name, and what better can you give to someone than the holy name? It's the most valuable asset. Yeah. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad-gītā ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.